Hello, I'm Robin Smith from Spider Sense Productions. I'm going to tell you about a petition I've just started with the government, with the UK government, to indicate the UK is open to sell itself to the US. So let me just repeat that. A petition for the government of the UK to indicate the UK is open to sell itself to the US. Now this might sound like quite a strange thing to ask, but I don't think so. Let me tell you why. So what we really want to do with this petition is get a dialogue going on the possibility, not the likelihood, but just the possibility of a dialogue again on the UK's accession to the United States. So what that really means is that the UK gives up the power over it that it has under the United Kingdom as part of the United Kingdom, and accedes or asks for the government of the United States to accept the UK as the next state of the USA. So a lot of people are going to think that's a really strange thing to do and you're crazy and it's never going to happen, but that again is not the intent of this. The intent is to get a dialogue going on the consequences, really, of not doing anything about the terrible state that some of our major, the most important institutions running this country, so namely obviously the government, but also the Church of England, which is falling, isn't it? The monarchy, which is dying out slowly but surely, and the judiciary now, which is effectively an arm of the government, to me anyway. So it's making up unjust law, yeah, and then employing it under the instructions of the government or whoever it is that's controlling it all, I don't know. Anyway, so we want to get this dialogue going about this horrible situation where our major institutions are no longer functioning as beneficiaries of the people of this country. So that's all I'll say now. What I'll do is I'll leave a link under this post with a good dialogue again on what we're actually talking about here in more detail. That'll give you a lot more detail about what we're really talking about, what we think the consequences are of it, the petition itself, which you can sign once they've checked it all out, and also the rationale, why was it a good idea, the strategic intent as well, so what's the benefit to the people of the country, but mainly our descendants really, because it won't really affect us even if it happened today. But for our descendants, our children, how is it going to affect them? Because I believe this nation, the way it's been governed for the last 30 years or so, doesn't care about our children. Or they might care, and they're just useless at doing it, or somewhere in between. But definitely, it's not functional anymore. Okay, so that's the strategic intent. I'll give you some context as well to show you what we mean about who those people might be and who are the people that are going to be affected by this. And some of the positive factors too. This isn't just to slag off the government. We want to look at the positive factors just to get an idea in people's heads about how it should really be under the current administration and all the institutions, what it could really be like if we acceded to as a state to the United States and left the United Kingdom. The other thing to think about here is it's not like this is something new. I went through an analysis of where this has happened before in the past historically, and it's happened so many times it's stupid. So it's perfectly possible that it could happen if we really wanted it. But again, we've got to have this dialogue first of all, so that we all know what we're talking about. We saw what happened in Brexit. I'm not saying that people voted for Brexit because they didn't know what they're doing. That's a terrible thing to say about people. But we want to get people to understand what are really the really important things to this country for the people and its descendants in how it's run. So I'll give you a lot of positive factors on why it would be good for us here as well. And also the possible consequences of inaction. You know, what happens if the monarchy just drops away? You know, the king dies, the prince doesn't want to do it, and the regency from his son or daughter, if we don't think that's an adequate situation, yeah. So what will happen with all these institutions? The judiciary as well, you know, what's going on there? We know there's something wrong there, don't we? Badly wrong. It's easy to talk about politicians, but that happens all the time. But it's not just the politicians and houses of parliament. It's the judiciary. It's the Church of England too, which was the thing that historically has held everything together. Okay, so we want to look at all these institutions and get a proper conversation going on about it, that everybody understands. It doesn't have to be complicated. Okay, so that's it really. So the whole idea of this is to get this conversation going about the future of our nation, and is it adequate the way it is? I don't think it is. And would the UK becoming a state of the United States, if they would have us, I mean, they're looking for other states to take over. They think about you, but aren't they already? Or not take over, but to adopt other states. So that's what we're really talking about. The UK leaving England and all the other countries in the UK, Scotland, Wales and Ireland, leaving the UK and becoming states of the United States. Okay, that's it really. I'm going to leave a link in the YouTube comments below, and let me know what you think in the comments.